What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So this is another video that's going to be follow-up on the Forza Horizon perfect settings video. Now, I explained in that video how after the hotfix was released and after they fixed some of the input lag on the wheel, that if it was significant enough, I'm going to release another video, and that's what this video is. So, that being said, we're going to go on over to the computer. I'm going to show you the updated settings that I now use on the game, and it's made a drastic difference. First off, like I said, they fixed the wheel issues. We're still seeing a lot of network issues, which they released in the message center that they are aware of them, and so there's server lag and stuff still. However, the wheel feels a ton better than it did. So again, we're going to head on over. I'm going to show you those settings. Just to kind of keep this video shorter than the last one, there is a link that I found on the Forza Horizon support page for Forza Horizon 5 that goes to talk about every individual settings and kind of gives a explain it like I'm 5 paragraph that explains what exactly that does. I will post that down in the video description because we're not going to waste a ton of time on what these settings exactly do. So let's head on over and show you those settings. Just like I started the last video, you're going to want to boot up your game or plug in your wheel before you launch the game. That way some of these settings actually show up. Get it to where you're driving around just like this. Then the next thing is, we'll hit escape, go into your settings. The first things I want to cover is under the difficulty. If you remember in the last video, I had simulation steering turned off. I actually had it set to standard. I've now changed that back to simulation, and then I've turned my stability control back to off. And again, that's just the way I prefer to play the game. And so far I've been able to control spin outs as long as it's not like user error and things like that. And just having a much better time with this hotfix. Now, you'll want to save that under there. And then if I go to the advanced controls, most of these were left as default, which is really nice, but there has been a few changes. The clutch, axis, dead zone, inside and out, I went ahead and bumped those. Basically gave me the full range. That way when I am using the clutch, that I have the full range, just because I tend to rest my foot off to the side. If you're one that likes to rest your foot on your clutch, you may want to move the clutch, axis, dead zone inside back to its default setting, just because then it won't pick up that you're actually resting your foot on the clutch. So that's the one that I've changed right there. Scrolling down just a little bit, the vibration scale is the next one that I changed. Again, 0.3. I thought the intensity of the vibration was a little too high as default, so I went ahead and bumped that down to a 0.3. This is completely subjective. This doesn't necessarily control the way or change the feel of the thing. It's just how intense your rumble motors within your wheel operate. And so I went ahead and dropped that down just a little bit. Force feedback, center spring, wheel damper, mechanical, these are all left as default. Again, force feedback load, these are all left as default as well. So like I said, a lot of these settings out of the box feel better on default. And in fact, in the last video, I had the wheel damper and mechanical trail. I had these skyrocketed. Actually, I had all three of these set to the maximum value. You're going to want to refer to the link that I've got down in the description because it goes into detail as to why it's a bad idea to increase these all the way up. So definitely something that I learned in that case, and they're not needed anymore anyway. So I went ahead and left those as default. Force feedback minimum and load sensitivity, again, default. You're going to want to make some final tweaks to these. These work great for me. I did leave the road feel scale as default, but I did turn the off-road scale down to a 0.8, and then I left the steering sensitivity at a 0.5. And that's because if you're going to be adjusting your steering sensitivity or anything like that, you're either going to want to do it in-game or within the Logitech G Hub software if you have a Logitech or whatever your wheels software is. So in this case, you're not going to want to do both. You're going to want to pick one or the other, and there's some calculations that you can do that are, again, explained in that link as to how you could achieve a different degree of rotation versus how the car feels. So I went ahead and left the steering sensitivity to a 0.5. And then the other changes that I made, I went back into the Logitech G Hub software and moved my wheel back to a 900 degree rotation and just verified that the car was responding to those degrees of rotation. In the last video, I bumped it down to a 360. Again, that's what worked best for me, but I think these settings will work best for a lot of you just because they fixed a lot of the lag that you were in a sense compensating for when you weren't able to get the real feel of the actual vehicle. So if we go into the Logitech, we'll go to the G29. You can see that everything is left as default. If I click on restore default right here, everything is the way it should be. 900 degrees, sensitivity is 50. And then this is unchecked because force feedback is enabled within Horizon 5. So if you're doing a game that doesn't have that, you can use the centering spring to replicate that force feedback, but that is currently default off, which is the way it should be. So you can see that those settings are in there. And then, like I said, these settings have worked great. There's tons of races that I've done on-road, off-road, and I've had a much higher success rate as far as racing these and keeping control of the vehicle. So there you have it. Like I said, take these settings, use them any way you want. If you're having any other issues or you want to input your type of settings or what worked best for you, leave those down in the comments below. I'll answer those as soon as I can if you have some questions. But again, the longer or the more people that we can have contribute their settings, the better off people will be and be able to kind of tweak those settings and enjoy the game for what it is. So that being said, that is going to wrap it up for this week's video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Those go a long way with helping us grow this channel. I certainly appreciate what you guys do. And then, like I said, leave any feedback down below as well, and that link will be down there too. So happy racing, have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.